So thank you to everyone who's managed to check out the teaser video for this track. So like I said I would split it into a series, and I have to do that because there's so much to go through, and I really want to show you like the ins and outs and how I've processed things, how I've affected things, how I've made it my own, and how I've decided to arrange it. So this is the drums. I'm going to split this into two parts because there's quite a bit to go over. So what we're going to do first of all is have a look at my sample choice. So it's built around the break, and like most jungle, most drum and bass, it's about your initial sample choice. So that is the breaks what you want to use. I used the hot pants break, so this is basically what it is. So there you go, hot pants break. Very popular choice for most like jungle tracks, like drum and bass tracks you may have heard. Probably the most popular ones that you may hear is like the Funky Drummer or Amen, which you probably heard of, and the hot pants is very popular as well. Where I got this sample from, I got it from a fellow YouTuber actually called STRANJAH. So big up to STRANJAH because he's got a really good channel. He has made everything from drum bass, like honestly, it goes to jungle, you name it, he's made it. So I'll drop his details in the comments so you can stumble across some of his videos and take some inspiration from those. So what we're going to do first of all is what I did. It was I right clicked and I sliced to MIDI. Quite important. If I just drag the sample straight onto my arrangement, because we're working at 163 BPM, which is significantly slower than what most jungle tracks are made at, then Ableton's job at warping it is not going to be the best, and things are going to be sounding off. So by right clicking and slicing to MIDI, it's going to give me this. So this is basically what happens. So Ableton will detect the transients, as you can see here, and it will spread it across all these pads. So it does give you some controls actually, some like I say, adjust the decay and sustain, release, etc. And if I go onto the clip, what you'll find is though, this is not what generally you see initially when you slice to MIDI. What you'll see is, because I'm working on a 16th grid, you'll see this lovely little stairways, and it'll go all the way up to the corner of the track there. And to make it your own, to sort of remix the break, you'll be wanting to adjust your slices. So if I solve this off and play that, if I just take out some stuff, and it's all about just moving your slices around. Because like breaks loops are very busy, it's got loads of ghost notes, which gives it that sort of like fullness. You don't want to be moving slices to the left and right, you want to be slightly moving slices up and down. And so the up and down would be the sample choice. So you've got kick, so your sort of hats and your ghost notes, there's your snare. And if you wanted just to change things around, you just move it, you know what I mean? If you move it there, and then if I move it to there, as you can see, so you can just see where you're at with the, get back to where I was. There you go. So what I did was I just added in some extra snares in it basically. So with this one, it's quite important when you slice to MIDI, you're going to see that it's not quantized very well. Some bits that are not quantized, you want it like that because that's your looseness, that's your swing, your shuffle. But your kicks and your snares, it's important to drag them across and snap them to your grid, because that's going to give you more control when it's in your arrangement. It's going to, like I say, work well with the BPM that you chose. So once you've found your little pattern that you want to do with your break, then what you want to do is right click your channel, you want to duplicate or Command and D, and then once it's duplicated, just right click, freeze track, then flatten it so it converts it to audio, and then you've committed to that pattern, and that's what you're going to get this basically. And this is what I'm going to be using in my arrangement. I'm not going to use the MIDI in my arrangement, I'm going to use the audio of it. So if we now have a little look at it in the arrangement view, and let's get some visibility. Right, so I'm going to kill this off so I can listen to this side, and then I'm going to go into my drums. There you go. This is my arrangement. So at 17 bars, my break comes in. You notice it's got no bottom end because I've used a EQ, the EQ3. The reason why I chose the EQ3 and not the auto filter, I just prefer it. I think the EQ3 is just a DJ mixer, but you can adjust the sort of the low frequency on it, so you can where you can turn on, you can kill switch basically the lows, the mids and the highs. You can then adjust the lows, which are just to 100 hertz. Anything under 100 hertz basically will be killed off. So just at 100, turned off the low part, and it just acts like a high pass filter. But it's got a lovely smooth curve to it. So if you've never used this before for high passing, give it a go. You'll probably find it much nicer than using the auto filter. There you go. That's when it gets turned off. So this is just the original. Sort of the original break audio sample. Nothing's happened to it yet. There's been no processing, no effects. But you're looking at this here now, and you're probably thinking, why does that look all weird and gritty? So if I zoom in, and then you can see it's full of colours, and you're thinking, well, actually Ableton does not give you any colours. What I've done is I've sliced everything up, and so it's more for me visibility, because if I'm looking at transients, I don't know whether that's a kick or a snare or what, so I've just sliced up the kick, turned it coloured green, sliced off the snare, coloured it light yellow, then obviously where there's a kick and a snare together, I've turned it blue, and then where it's slightly dark here, where there's a double snare, or double kick I should say, then I've turned it, double snare, I should say, I've zoomed in. I've made it a bit darker yellow, and that's just for my visibility, because this is what I'm going to be starting to do, is I can start dragging these down and making other edits of that original breaks loop. But what I haven't touched it yet, but when I start to touch it when it gets to this section here. So let's have a little listen to it when it comes to here. So you got a crash sample there, which I got from a loop. I've just cut it out, sliced it up and consolidated it. Then I've got this rides part here as well. It's a ride sample, but with a twist. So what I did is I sort of sectioned it off. This is the consolidated bit, by the way. So before I consolidate, I sliced off sections, clicked on it, and just transposed it like that. So it's going up and down, sort of like between the pitches, and it just sounds different. It sounds quite metallic when it goes to the higher pitched ones. And I did that a few times, consolidated it up, made a little loop from it, and then got rid of some of the lows. But then, if you go back to, this is the important bit I was going to go on to. Right, so let's explain this little section. So I opened up another audio track. I just literally copied and pasted the section, dragged it down, and then I decided this is going to be me edited part of the break. And what I did was, at the minute I've committed to audio on this one, because this plugin I've used is notorious for sucking the life out of your computer, and it's called Sugar Bytes Tornado, and it's a multi-effects one. It's got loads of different things. You can layer them all up, adjust them, put them on macro knobs and you can literally go wild with it. So this is a really good recommendation for this sort of style because you can do loads of stuff. Look at all them different effects. But this one particularly, I use this one, guitar amp, and that's what's giving that lo-fi feel to it. So let's get rid of that. And then if we go back to it and have a listen, you may have noticed that it goes through this little sort of rewind of it. Quite a popular sort of effect that they have in sort of the older 90s jungle tracks, and it's all done with a pitch bend. So you can imagine like a DJ who's doing a rewind on a vinyl. Then what it's basically doing inside is slowing it down, so it's changing the pitch of it, and you can actually do that by drawing some automation. So let's wait for my mouse to come back. I really should have charged this up. There we go, I'm back in. Right, so if I'm going to click on this, I'm going to open it up, and then I'm going to, as you can see here, so if I just latch it before I've touched it, I'll click on this little bit, which is open the envelopes up. I'm going to select clip, I'm going to select transpose, and then I'm going to draw in some pitch bending. So I just at the end of it, I just drew in 2 points, and then I hovered over it, and then I held an Alt, and then you can bend the automation bar, and that's what's give it this sort of nice sweep of pitch up. So give that a try in your tracks because it is a really popular one to do, and you can't actually. A lot of people think you can just chuck like a macro knob on and then map it to that and then do it. You can't. You need to do it within the actual envelope clips itself. So listen back over it again. And then you can see at the end here, this is where the pitch bend comes in. So there you go. And then if I have on this bit, if I have a little click onto here, this little section here, I did reconsolidate it, but if you have a listen to it, this little effect here. That was pitch bending it the other way, so going down rather than going, so not high pitch, lower pitch, just give that really like rewinded sort of feel away. So you can do it exactly the same way, just bend your automation bar the other way. So next little bit, we're going to go on to sort of tackle that section, and then we've got this here. I've got this little glitch sample which just gives us a bit of transition to my bars, and then it goes back into the original loop. There you go, this bit. Coloured it pink so I can sort of see it better. But with this one, this is called Flamin. So what you do for that is, so I already had these sliced up, and I clicked on it, and I adjusted I changed the, so warp's still on, but usually it's at beats, but I've changed the texture. I time stretched it by 2, so +2, and then I adjusted the grain size and the flux size to get that sort of jittery feel to it. But you need to time stretch it first to hear those sort of vibrating effect. So you go in texture, times by 2, then adjust your flux and your grain size to your feel. Just keep playing around with it until it sounds quite nice. So that's Flamin. Then at the end of it, you've got this, just a reverse. Click on it, hit reverse, and that's a really popular choice for any of the like sort of arrangement of any sort of jungle and drum and bass tracks. So that wraps up the first part of my drums, because I'm now coming toward the end of the 15 minutes. So make sure you're going to listen. Well, the video should carry on at the next one, and we're going to start talking about the rest of the track.